Hey, what's up? I'm Darkbblue, trying to help everyone enjoy games in depth. In this video, I'll be talking about the last period of playing Remnant 2, build crafting. I'll show you how to craft fun and strong builds by yourself. Let's start with the introduction, which covers the components and requirements of a satisfying build. The components of a build include weapon along with mutator and mod. Weapons include a long gun, a sidearm, and a melee weapon. The three components define the form of your attack. Then one amulet plus 4 rings to give you important bonuses. 2 archetypes, each equipped with 1 skill selected from 3, also giving you very important bonuses. Relic, mainly for survivability. Armor, solely for survivability. There's no such thing as stat bonus in Remnant 2. Traits, giving you all kinds of basic stat bonuses. Relic fragments and prisms giving you basic stat bonuses, except for the prism legendary bonus, which can greatly change how a build works. And consumables, including concoctions that last very long and don't go out as you die, and common consumables. It's quite common that you forget to use consumables to strengthen your build, so I want to put a reminder here. All these components are what you can exploit when crafting a build, and the target of the exploiting is fourfold: damage output, survivability, resource loop, and Souls-like interaction. I will cover all the 4 aspects in detail. So how to craft a build damage-wise? You can follow 2 steps. Identify the damage type of your desired way of attack, and then stack DPS bonus from multiple dimensions. Why is it important to know the exact damage type? This is because most bonuses in Remnant 2 can only apply to a certain damage type. For example, there are rings that bonus only range attack, and rings that bonus only mortar damage. As a result, you need to make sure you are using gears that bonus the correct damage type as your desired attack. There are 2 dimensions to define the damage type of an attack: the source and the properties. There are exactly 5 damage sources in Remnant 2. They are ranged, melee, mod, skill, and others. Skill means direct damage from any archetype skill, and others include independent damage effects from mutators and rings. For a given attack, there's always one and only one damage source. However, a given attack can have no or multiple damage properties. For example, a regular shot from a gun has no property. An independent dot damage from a mutator can be considered both as status effect and elemental. The mod attack from Star Shot is considered as explosion damage. After identifying the damage type of the attack you want to use, you can filter out gears with bonuses that don't match with the damage type. After that, it's time for stacking the bonus. In Remnant 2, bonuses to DPS are divided into many dimensions, such as the most regular damage bonus, crit chance and crit damage, weak spot damage, vulnerable effect applied to enemies, attack speed, and even more. So why do you want to stack bonuses from multiple dimensions instead of concentrating them into one? This has to do with diminishing returns. For example, suppose you have 2 10% damage bonus, then when applied together, the total bonus is additive, so it'll be 20%. Consequently, for the second 10% bonus, your damage goes from 1.1 times to 1.2 times, which is in fact less than 10% increase. This is diminishing returns caused by additive bonus. To suppress diminishing returns, you want to stack bonuses from multiple dimensions. Grab yourself some regular damage bonus, then some crit bonus, and finally some weak spot damage, etc. All in all, crafting the build damage-wise will become easy once you understand damage type and stacking bonus from multiple dimensions. But damage only is not enough, which leads us to survivability. You need to be able to evade incoming attack, absorb more damage, and heal yourself. Remnant 2 is a Souls-like game after all, so simple evading is always there as a choice. But to be honest, I feel it's a bit hard to dodge all the attacks. This is why it's also important to absorb more damage and heal the wound. To absorb more damage, you can invest into armor, DR reduction, and max health. Any one of the three can help you take more damage before being killed. Similar to how we deal with damage output, you are advised to invest into all the three dimensions to avoid diminishing returns. Notably, however, DR reduction is more rewarding as you put more resources into it, so you can make more efforts on DR reduction than the other two aspects. In addition to the three common ways for damage absorption, the auto-evading skill of Invader can also be considered as a way to absorb damage. Please refer to other content creators' auto-evading builds for more information. Still, it's not enough to just absorb more damage, as you also need to heal the damage quickly after you take it. Usually, we have the following approaches to healing. The most basic one is to use a relic. Of course, very basic. But it has several drawbacks. Obviously, using a relic is slow, the charge of relics is limited, and it's squishy when the boss has empathy ethics. An alternative approach is healing over time, mainly granted by a HOT trait and Tranquil Heart. It allows you to heal without using a relic, thus avoiding the drawbacks of the first approach, but the healing is slower. You can also use Lifesteal, granted mainly by Siphoner's trait and Profound Heart. Basically, it feels similar to healing over time, but a lot faster. In general, using a relic, healing over time, and lifesteal are the three most basic approaches to healing accessible to every build. Currently, the most popular option is to max out Siphoner trait and use Profound Heart, so that lifesteal becomes your major healing source. Then you can have some additional healing items and healing over time as supplementary approaches. Usually, such basic healing is not satisfying enough, which is why you want stronger healing through Resource Loop. To simply put, many gears in Remnant 2 allows you to convert consumed resources into healing effects. For instance, a ring gives you shield when you use a skill, thus converting skill cooldown into healing in the form of a shield. Spirit Hater Mutator converts consumed mod power into healing. Medic Prime Perk gives you one relic back by accumulating healing, leading to infinite relics. Such healing from Resource Loop is so strong that you should actively look for them when crafting the build. To sum up, you want damage absorption as well as healing, plus a little evading, for survivability even in Epoch. Next, let's talk about Resource Loop. Range builds need to reload, melee builds need to recover stamina, mod builds need to generate mod power, and skill builds need to wait for the skill to cooldown. We call such things Resource Loop. It's important to consider how to regenerate the consumed resource faster when crafting the build. Range builds can stack reloading speed, which is pretty straightforward. Melee builds usually use Matriarch's Insignia, such that you can restore stamina when landing a melee hit. Pair it with stamina consumption reduction effects, and you will have good stamina loop. Mod power loop can be improved through stacking mod power gain, mod power requirement reduction, and mod power recycling effects. Based on diminishing returns, you want to stack all of them instead of focusing on one. Notably, there are two additional ways that can greatly enhance your mod power loop. The first one is converting damage dealt into mod power, usually through Feedback Mutator and Stone of Malevolence Ring. The second one is an amulet called Reaction Chain, introduced with DLC 3, which can convert half of the mod power spent to the stowed weapon. Skill loop-wise, you need to stack a lot of skill cooldown effects and pair them with effects saying doing blah 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 immediately reduces skill cooldown. The former can be collected from relic fragments, prisms, and accessories. The latter, for example, may come from Invoker's Prime perk. Each time you use a skill, all ongoing skill cooldown will be reduced. There are also amulets and rings that give you similar effects. Then what about the final aspect, Souls-like interaction? Are you aware that the DPS values shown on the dummies are not what you can really get in real combat? This difference comes from two reasons. You may not hit the weak spot in real combat, and you need to spend time dodging in real combat. So when testing DPS against the dummy, you always hit its weak spot, so stacking weak spot damage is a good choice. However, in real fights, it might be hard to hit weak spots. It's not always your problem, as some bosses are designed such that hitting the weak spot should be hard. In this case, stacking bonus other than weak spot damage would increase your actual DPS. However, in some boss fights, such as Annihilation, it is actually easy to hit the weak spot, so it now becomes beneficial to stack it. Besides, you don't need to dodge when testing against the dummy, but you do in real combat. Spending time dodging means you will lose some DPS, but some builds will lose less damage than others. For example, dot builds will lose less damage when dodging, as long as the dot is still taken. Similar to the discussion about the weak spot, you don't necessarily need to spend a lot of time dodging in real combat. Some bosses and builds do need less time for this. In general, Souls-like interaction is more about your own experience. You need to understand the requirements of bosses to select a suitable build. Nevertheless, in boss rush mode, I tend to use less aggressive builds because it will be hard to change builds there. Now you have the full picture: damage output, survivability, resource loop, and interaction. With the four aspects understood, you are now able to craft your own builds that are capable enough for even epoch runs. I will also give you additional build cases, including mod builds, skill builds, and melee builds in 3 future videos. If you want to play games into depths together with me, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.